Hi.
Everyone who's watching at home, welcome to this very special live stream where I'm joined by two actual blondies in China. So joining me today, I have Nico and I have Rachel, who are both currently living in Beijing. And I myself am joining you from Sydney, so these guys should take over my channel name because I obviously don't deserve it. But lovely to see you both. How are you going?
Hi.
Good. So good. Excited to chat with you guys. But Beijing has been awesome. It's been good recently.
Oh, I miss it so much. Fingers crossed. At the moment, Australians were not allowed to leave Australia unless we have a really good reason. And at the moment, China isn't accepting foreign visitors right now. So fingers crossed. We, get back soon as possible. But lovely to have you guys on the stream today. And I think most of my audience are familiar with you, Nico. We've done a live before together, but maybe people are quite new to you, Rach. So would you like to introduce yourself super quick for everyone watching the stream today?
I would love to. So my name is Rachel. As you can see, Rachel Meets China is my YouTube handle. So I am from the US and I moved to China in 2015 after I graduated from university. I was a teacher for 3 years, first in Hunan in Hengyang, and then I taught in Guangzhou for 1 year. And then I moved to Beijing 2 years ago, where I currently do like marketing and media. And I've been traveling and living in China since then. And I've been blogging and using Instagram and all of that stuff for the past 5 years.
Yeah, guys, Rachel was one of the first people I followed on Instagram. And if you don't already, you have to go check out her Instagram. She takes I don't know, Nico, can you agree with me? She takes some of the most stunning photos.
Oh, you guys.
Oh my God, the photos.
As well.
Do you take your own photos?
I take my own photos. So I have a tripod and sometimes I have a remote with me to set up because I travel by myself a lot. And you know how difficult it is sometimes asking people to help you take photos when you're by yourself. And then you're like, oh, wait, can you try it like this? Can you try it like this? So I've learned it's just easier if I learn how to do it all myself. And it's also lots of fun to do it by myself too. So it's all me, one woman team.
And also, I love that. And I also find that when I'm filming by myself or taking photos of myself using a tripod, you feel like you can take your time a bit more and no one's rushing you. You can, make all the adjustments that you want. But I had no idea that you're taking all those fabulous photos by yourself because, guys, if you're watching, just get your phone and just look up Rachel's account right now on Instagram. It's her with this flowing red dress on the Great Wall and this very dramatic snow falling everywhere. Oh my goodness, it's such a vibe.
People are like, how do you travel in that dress? And could you wear a dress everywhere you go? But the secret is I don't wear it when I'm hiking. I change into it or I wear it under my clothes. It's a secret though. Because it's really difficult to always wear.
I would never be able to just put a dress on though and look that flowing and beautiful at the top of the mountain. I would just literally be sweating. And,
That's why I always turn around so you can't see my face, all my sweat. It's just my hair, so I'm hiding my sweaty face.
See, I have a jack, and my picture's still on as good as Rachel's.
You have a jack.
You have a jack, but honestly, I'm kind of jealous. Having a jack is really handy.
I mean,
that sounded weird.
Pretty handy.
I wish my Jack. Well, mine isn't called Jack. Mine is called Derek. But I wish my Derek was here. Could help me.
Oh, yeah. But you do all your own filming and stuff too, don't you, Amy?
I do. I think I'm just feeling a little needy. It's been 4 months since I've seen my boyfriend. So yeah, but it's okay.
Yeah,
we FaceTime and we're taking advantage of the 21st century inventions. So yeah, it's all good. But yeah. Good to be here talking with you guys today. We have a fun live stream planned for everyone. So if you are tuned in, we are going to be discussing a whole heap of fun topics. I'll give you a little rundown so that you know what you have to look forward to. First, we're going to be talking about Beijing, and because actually at one time we were all in Beijing at the same time but didn't know each other. Well, Nico and Rachel have known each other for a while, but I was there but didn't know them. So we're going to be talking about Beijing and life in Beijing. We're going to be talking about like day trips around Beijing, about day trips in China in general. We're going to be talking about the Great Wall and like how to do it well. We actually have sitting with us today a Great Wall expert. Rachel will be getting into that later. And then we're going to be talking about hutong houses, and we're also going to be talking about what it's like to be an English teacher in China. So if you're interested in any of those topics, please stick around. Please send your chats and comments, and we will do our best to answer as many things as possible. But first, Nico, I heard on the grapevine / you told me directly that you have prepared for us a little get to know you activity today.
Yeah, so we're gonna play a little game to like start off, and everyone can feel free to join in and type their favorite things. It's gonna be quite fast. And it's called like this or that. So let me figure out how to do this.
Okay, we're doing some screen sharing here.
Oh yeah.
Okay, here we go.
Okay.
Can you see?
I can. Oops.
Okay.
Oops.
It was there?
Yeah.
Now it's gone.
Yeah.
Oh, there it is.
Is that
okay, great.
Okay. So it's called this or that. I'm sure you played this game before. You've got to pick one. So it's gonna be quite fast. You gotta tell me which is the one you would pick. So we'll start off with something easy. Okay. So tea or coffee?
Coffee.
Tea.
Oh, one for each. I would have gone for tea a few years ago, but actually since moving to China, I would go for coffee.
So British.
That's so weird.
Yeah, I know.
Like China is the land of tea.
I know.
I know. I should drink tea more too, but I just
oh my gosh, it's the
drink
best.
coffee
It's
a
the
lot
best
more
place
often.
to just like go and hang out. I found on a completely kind of related note, I've been going to a Chinese tea house in Sydney every week now. I feel so happy. I've found a really awesome environment to practice my Chinese and drink tea and make friends. So yes, would recommend everyone go find their closest tea house.
I don't think I've like appreciated really good tea from like a tea house or anything yet. I haven't really done that. So I think maybe I'm missing out.
And you are. No, I need to do more of that.
Maybe we should do that, Rachel. Let's go for a tea.
We should go to a tea ceremony one day. I have not done that in China, which is so weird. I should have been here for a while.
Okay, let's go for the next one. Right. So next one is beach or mountains?
Mountains.
Oh, it's really hard because I'm from Sydney. And we have some of the best beaches in the world. But the fact is, you know what? Beach, because I would love to go to the beach right now. I like both. Beach. Yeah.
I like both.
What about you?
I would say mountains.
Mountains.
Okay.
Yeah.
Sunrise or sunset?
Sunset.
Ooh, that's hard. Ooh. I would say sunrise. I'll say sunrise. Amy, we pick the opposite one every single time.
Oh man, we're destined to be good friends, right?
Opposites attract, you know? Maybe.
I just can't get up for a sunrise. Like I've done it a few times when we were in like Patagonia and it was worth it, but it's hard. Like super hard get up at 5 a.m. I like my sleep.
It's super hard. I'm the same. Like I would probably prefer sunrise if I didn't have to wake up for it. Sunrise is just so magical. You feel like you're the only one awake in the world and everything's happening. But I just wanted to interrupt quickly to say we got a super chat saying, why not coffee and tea together? I actually discovered this beverage that drunken police god is talking about, yuan yang, when I was in Hong Kong last time. And it's literally a beverage which is coffee and tea together. So it's like the best of both worlds. So, yes.
I've never heard of that.
Oh my gosh, it's so good. You can find it in Beijing. There's some Hong Kong cafes you can go to and get some. I've gotten it in Sydney before. It's it's really fun.
Wow, that sounds amazing. I need to try that.
Yeah,
I
super
did
good.
not know that either. Sunrise is great when you've stayed up all night as well, and then you catch the sunrise. But that's rare now.
Yeah.
Right. Next. Hotel or
Next
hostel?
One. Hotel.
Hostel.
I'm too old for a hostel. I've been there, done that.
I'm too old for a hostel, but I like a private room in a hostel. Not.
Oh, that's a good. Yeah, that's nice. Yeah, that's actually a very nice compromise.
Fun.
Yeah. Yeah.
I would say the same thing. Like, because when I was younger, traveling, always hostel. It was the best way to meet people, especially traveling by yourself. But as I've gotten older, you kind of enjoy like your own space and nicer things. You don't always like want to rough it.
No,
I can't.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I can't anymore.
Well, I think in China it's different too. I feel like the hostels in China, it's a little bit different. I'd prefer a hotel. Yeah.
We've stayed in a few hostels here that have been good. We've mainly picked private rooms though, because I mean we're a couple, so we're just.
And you're a couple too,
I like the vibe in a hostel. Like you meet more people, and it's just a bit more chill, I think.
Yeah.
Okay. Next one is cats or dogs.
Dogs.
Oh, that's hard. I love them both. Can I choose both? I've always had cats and dogs. I love them both in different ways.
I don't know how cats work. Like, I was confronted with a cat yesterday, and we went to a friend's house and they had a cat, and I was like, "What do I do with you? Like, do I like fetch with you? Like, do I scratch you?" And I just was very confused.
You just pet it and cuddle it. Sometimes cats have different personalities that are fun, but some can be mean.
Yeah.
Some cats are mean. Right. Okay, next one.
What about you, Nico? What was your answer? Cats or dogs?
Dogs. Definitely dogs. Okay. Have you not seen any of my videos? All dogs appear in all my videos. I stroke all the dogs everywhere I go. There was one today. I was meant to go see Bonnie today, but we couldn't because the weather was a bit rubbish. So decorative.
That's what you do with cats, Amy. They're decorative. I love that.
Yeah, just look at them, appreciate them from a distance.
They add to the decor in your house.
We met a really good dog today in Albuquerque, and that was good. I got some strokes, so I was happy that helped.
That's a great
strokes.
Next, yes, literally, and every week, like the woman knows me. She was like, "Getting pizza today?" I was like, "Yeah, can we have 3, please?" She was like, "It's so long." I know.
So cute.
Okay, next one: sweets or chocolate?
Chocolate.
What do you mean by sweets? Is that like anything besides chocolate?
Yeah, like Haribo.
Like a lollipop.
Okay.
Yeah, like Haribo.
Chocolate, 100% chocolate. I'm not like a fruity candy person. I would much rather have chocolate.
Yeah, I like both, but yeah. Train or plane?
Train. I have a real fear of turbulence. Ironically enough, I hate flying. Hate it.
I'd say train too, I guess. Usually plane, but train in China is fun. I like it.
I like the trains in China. I wouldn't choose the train in England.
Yeah, the train in America I wouldn't choose. Yeah.
But here, Okay, next one. Would you pick a horror or a comedy movie?
Comedy.
Always comedy.
100%. 100%.
Same.
No
horror movies.
Me
too. Cannot stand it.
Eat out or take away?
Eat out.
Yeah, I'd say eat out. Yeah.
I'd probably say take away. I like eating in my pajamas.
Yeah. Well, why don't you just go out in your pajamas? Best of both worlds.
Okay, next one. Wine or beer?
Wine.
Wine.
Well,
I like both.
I am drinking a beer, but I do like
Nice.
I prefer wine. I love wine. Okay, now we're gonna get onto some China ones, okay? So noodles or rice?
Right now I'm having a big noodle resurgence. Like I'm all about the noodles, so I'm gonna say noodles.
I've been doing a lot of rice lately. Okay. I've been doing a lot of rice lately, but usually noodles.
Yeah, I love noodles. Okay, so as we've all lived in Beijing, do you prefer the summer or winter in Beijing specifically?
Winter.
Oh, summer. What?
I love it. I hate summer. I hate
It's too
sweating.
cold in this. It's too cold in the winter, though. I hate it.
At least you're not sweating out of every orifice. Like,
But you don't
you can like contain the amount of liquid flowing off your body. Like, just put on a coat, put some hand warmers in your shoes. Like,
I completely agree. I love the winter, and like I have underfloor heating. It's so nice. Whereas I'm so hot right now, and the aircon's on. Yeah, I like the.
oh, it's
winter.
summer, isn't it? Oh,
Yeah,
It's
how's
summer
it right
now. But I love it. It's good. I mean, it's been a little bit rainy the past few days, but I like the summertime because you can go to the rooftops. There's so many nice rooftop bars in Beijing. And usually the pools are open. There's some really nice pools that you can go to in the summertime. I just love summer weather. Yeah.
Never.
But they're closed this summer.
I like spring or autumn.
Oh, spring.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Right in your own answer.
Next one's a biggie. Squat or sit?
Well,
I can't
like,
squat.
I would like to say I'm a very good squatter, but if it was gonna,
Like,
if I'm gonna
flat
say
foot?
like,
Do you flat foot
oh
squat?
yeah, oh man, do you want
Oh,
like a
wow.
demonstration? I can demonstrate.
Flat foot
Yeah.
squat.
Are you going to? Let's
Oh, I'm
see.
wearing my trackies. I wouldn't want to scare people. Yeah, I don't look very good from like the shoulders down, so I won't do that. But yeah, I'm a really good squatter. But I don't think I'd want to squat for like 4 hours, so I'd probably say sit.
No, like on the toilet, man.
Oh, on the toilet. Oh, I thought you were just saying in general.
In general, like on the side of the street, would you rather sit or squat?
Oh.
Well, I would say sit.
What did I say before? Did I say sit?
Yeah, do you prefer a squat toilet or a sit toilet? A Western toilet, then?
I guess sit. I'm so used. I mean, in traveling in China, I don't mind the squatties actually.
I like a squat, but I can't physically squat that well right now.
I can't flat foot squat.
So
yeah. The problem in China is that people tend to squat on the seats, so you don't want to go anywhere near the seats. So it's probably when I'm in China, I would prefer to squat. But
I like a squat, but it's really
sit.
yeah. I prefer in my house. Obviously, I prefer sit. In public toilets, I like a squat. It's very difficult for me right now because of my knee injury. So yeah. Anyway, okay, let's go. Do you prefer baozi or jiaozi?
Oh man.
That's
so
hard.
both so good.
Oh,
Different situations.
Oh, exactly. Like baozi in the morning, so good.
Yeah.
But
baozi
jiaozi for dinner.
Breakfast, jiaozi in the evening. Yeah.
Yes.
Wake up with baozi, go to bed with jiaozi.
Yes.
So true. I love that.
Yes.
Okay. Next one. Hot pot or barbecue?
Char.
Oh, that's another really hard one. Oh,
I'm gonna say barbecue.
I'll say hot pot.
I love
do
the
like
experience of hot pot. Barbecue is like a little bit more casual. I eat it a lot more often here, but I love the hot pot experience. So I would say hot pot.
Yeah.
Both.
Nice.
Okay. Big one. Hot or cold water?
Cold.
Cold water. Cold water.
What about you, Nico?
Cold water, yeah, all the way.
Yeah.
Okay. Do you prefer the ma or the la?
Oh, the ma. I love the ma.
No, la, all the way.
I hate szechuan pepper.
Oh, I'm addicted to it. I've said this so many times, so people are probably sick of me saying it, but I went through a period like a couple of months ago where I was putting like Sichuan peppercorns on everything. Like I was getting to a stage where I was putting Sichuan peppercorns on my toast in the morning, and I think my stomach just really just had enough of the Sichuan peppercorns. I was just probably having like a good handful a day, and then I had to like take a month off. But I'm reintroducing, so that's exciting.
Yeah, I'm not a big fan, but we are maybe going to go to Chongqing this year, and I'm a bit scared. I'm actually a bit scared, but
don't be scared. I'll teach you how to do it. You need to work your way up, and also when you're in Chongqing, you can order like less spicy of the spicy, but it's still super spicy. But there are things you can do to help. Yeah. And they have these awesome desserts that are like super cooling, but you don't eat them at the end. You kind of eat them all the time. And it's like ice and jellies, and it really helps fight the spice. It's super good.
Okay, this is the last one. So girls, Beijing or Shanghai?
I'll have to say Shanghai. It's the first city I lived in China, and it will always have a very special place in my heart.
I love Shanghai, but I'm going to say Beijing. Beijing's my home, so.
Same. I gotta go Beijing. Yeah. I love going to Shanghai. I think I just haven't been there enough, and if I lived there, I probably would feel differently.
I have a theory. I have a theory, which is the city you first lived in China will always be kind of your favorite city. I don't know, because I studied first in Shanghai and then I studied in Beijing. And when I was in Shanghai, people who had studied in Beijing already say they prefer Beijing. But then, you know, people who go to Beijing then say they prefer Shanghai. So I don't know if there's something to that. But for me, I definitely had that experience. I love Beijing as well. There's not a city that I would say I don't like, but Shanghai is a very special place.
I think they're very different. So it's hard to compare. Like, I mean, I used to live in Nanjing, but I still prefer Beijing overall. But it was very beautiful. But we went to Shanghai a few weeks ago, and I do love it there. I think it's a bit fancy for me. I'm not really very fancy.
Shanghai?
Yeah, I'm more of a brewery than a cocktail girl. So I feel like Beijing's maybe a little bit more like...
Maybe. I think you just need to know where to go. But Shanghai is developing so quickly. Like every time I go, it's more and more modern. So even... Like I think I was last there last year, and if I went back now, it'd be, you know, a new apartment block or a new fancy glass building. But yeah, good fun.
Somebody just said, Shanghai or Beijing, which is worse traffic? Definitely Beijing, I would say. Shanghai has like a lot of restrictions that you don't see in Beijing. I noticed that a lot when I went a few weeks ago. Like you can't cycle in certain streets.
In Shanghai or in Beijing?
Yeah, in Shanghai. Like Beijing, it's like free for all everywhere.
Yeah.
But in Shanghai, there's a lot more restrictions. And people stop at traffic lights.
Oh.
Shocking.
Crazy. Really?
What a concept.
Like the bikes stop at traffic lights. I know. It doesn't happen here in Beijing.
Actually, Rach, we have a message here from Emily asking, where in the USA are you from?
Hi, Emily. I am from Texas, from Fort Worth area, so like northern part of Texas. Yeehaw.
Cool. Do you own cowboy boots?
That's always the first question people ask me. Or do you ride a horse everywhere? I used to have cowboy boots, but I'm not like super traditional Texas like you might think. But when I talk to people in China about it, I kind of sell it up a little bit. Like, yeah, I ride my horse everywhere, wear my cowboy boots. You know, it's just
I do the same thing. I'm like,
it's what I imagine from movies.
I'm surfing every day, you know, I'm like, you know, I'm just so tanned, like white as a sheet, but like, yeah, you try and, Australia.
Play it up a little bit sometimes, like, you know.
We have a super chat from Chris here. I'm in Australia, in Sydney. Nico and Rachel are in Beijing. So that is our physical locations right now. What else do we have here? Do we have any other questions? Blondie, when you say Beijing, your accent is really like a Pekingese. Oh, thank you. I would like to think that I have a bit of a Beijing word.
High compliment.
That's very nice. That is really, really nice.
Beijing, Grandma.
Are you speaking to me?
Yes.
Or to him?
You or both.
Oh, me. Yeah. Or Beijing. How's the Chinese going, Rachel? You speak Chinese, right? A little bit.
Conversationally, yeah. Actually, I was really great when I my first second or third year in China. I was taking lessons a lot. I was very conversational. So I travel, I use it. But like recently in Beijing, I haven't used it a lot and I've forgotten a bit. But this week I actually started lessons again. So I'm very excited to get back into it. Yeah.
Yay, that's so good. How about
I feel like since I've been here 5 years, I should be better at it. Yeah. You know, how's yours?
Terrible. I'm gonna start lessons. I tried to organize it a few weeks ago, though. Just got really, really busy. So I really want to, because I feel like, we've been here so long now, and but it's just so hard, because we just every spare second we make videos. Like we have full-time jobs that we make YouTube videos, and it's so difficult. But I really want to try it, like really get into a routine, because I know quite a few words. I just the situation we can't do it very well.
Yeah.
We got a super chat from David, and it said, which train, slow or fast train?
Oh, fast.
I like fast,
100%.
yeah. Unless it's really a long fast train, and then I'd just be like, I'm just going to sleep on a slow train, and I'd prefer that.
Yeah. Oh, true. I'd rather have a sleeper bed if it's going to be a little bit longer.
Yeah. I like the nostalgicness of the slow train. Like that's quite fun, but I love the fast trains. I just
What's the longest train you guys have been on in China?
Oh, not that long.
I've avoided the super long ones. I think I've done 12 hours.
I went to
how about you?
48 hours. Yeah.
What? Where were you going? Why?
Shanghai to Gansu province. So literally across the country on the slowest train available. But it was really cheap, and I made a lot of new friends. Like when you share a 1 meter square, or not 1 meter, but when you share such a small amount of space with people for over 2 days of your life, we were like brothers and sisters by the end of that trip. That we were like, we were tired.
Wow.
It was beautiful.
Real bonding. Wow.
Oh yes.
If you've got the time though, like I just don't have the time to spend that long on a train.
Yeah.
Like, because we get a weekend off, and then it's like, oh, right,
you're there. That's it. You gotta go back.
Yeah. Back
like,
in those days, I was a struggling student. Just need to get the cheapest train to get me to where I want to go. Just get me there.
Yeah.
Fair.
Yeah.
Totally fair.
Yeah.
And yes, that seems to be all of our questions for now. So on to Beijing stuff. You guys are both in Beijing at the moment. Can I just ask you, first of all, what's the situation like in Beijing? I know that there was a lockdown like a few weeks ago. Is that happening anymore? Just give us a bit of a rundown on what's happening.
Yeah, well, luckily, the few cases rebroke out again. We had kind of a second wave here. So things were getting so much better by the end of May. And then the new cases came, things shut down again. But recently in the last week or so, moving on from July 4th, everything reopened again. We're allowed to travel outside of Beijing again, which is really nice. Other places are starting to reopen again. So it's getting a lot better now.
Yeah, I made a video about it, and it is getting a lot better. I don't feel to be honest, I don't feel like it really felt that different, but there are still quite a few restaurants that were open that still aren't open, which is a bit weird. And apparently we're allowed to travel and we don't need a test, but you kind of do, because
I wouldn't risk it, I don't want to get someplace. Yeah.
Especially I just it's kind of one of those things, it's technically okay, but I don't know if it actually is. I know some people have had problems, so it's but generally, and I'm still working from home right now. I'm not sure how long that's gonna last for.
Me too.
But
and it's been okay though. I mean, we still have to show our health kit everywhere, so we have to use an app on our phone before we go to restaurants and malls and businesses, and they take your temperature still. But they don't make you sit 2 places apart or anything anymore. It's just a sign-in sheet basically to just check your temperature. Okay. So that's not bad.
I mean, they did that anyway, literally from.
They've been doing that for months now. That just feels normal now.
Life, so it just really doesn't feel like that. That's different.
Oh, that's good. Yeah. Well, good, it's getting back to normal. Here in Sydney, things are still good, but there has been a second wave in Melbourne, which is a city in another state. So they've completely locked down that city and that state. And the border has closed between Victoria and New South Wales for the first time in 100 years. So that's a bit crazy, but hopefully there won't be a second wave in Sydney, because it's been really nice having freedom back and being able to go out and hang out. I've started this whole meetup thing where every Sunday I'm meeting with people in Sydney, which has been super, super fun and made a cool little community here. And it would be such a shame to have to, stop doing stuff like that. But so fingers crossed things stay good, but good to hear that things are going well for you guys in Beijing, COVID wise. Yeah.
Well, also we also don't live anywhere near where the outbreak was. So it might have been a lot different from people in that area, which is what I was kind of.
I think really depended the region.
Yeah, and Beijing's so massive, that like they kind of seem to like cut that area off, and everywhere else just didn't seem quite as affected. So yeah, fingers crossed, because I heard that about Australia, and it's just rubbish.
Yeah, hopefully we have a vaccine soon. Fingers crossed.
Let's not get too bogged down on it, because I'm so sick of talking about it.
Yeah. Well, let's move on. So you both are in Beijing. I used to be in Beijing. So I was in Beijing because I was originally studying there. I was doing an intensive language program at Tsinghua University, and then I was living with friends for a while after that. What are you guys doing in Beijing? Can you please tell me when you came to Beijing and why you came to Beijing?
Sure. Do you want to start, Nico?
Yeah, sure. So, well, actually, we came to Beijing very similar times. I moved to Beijing in the July, and Rachel moved in the August, right?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Really close to each other.
June. I moved at the end of June. I came, so that was like 2 years ago. I moved to Beijing, and I was working for a company in Nanjing as a teacher, and then I moved, and I still work for the English language company, but I am now like they have like an online app that the kids go on and watch once a week, and it's like an interactive TV show, and I present that. So it's like I'm like a kid.
Can you give us a sneak peek of your presenting voice? Like, what do you like when you're on this show? Like, give us a.
Well, well, we do like lessons depending on obviously the curriculum, but I play different characters. So I have been. I should have got a picture. I should have brought some pictures for this. I have been a scientist, a wizard, a superhero.
Wow.
Grandma, like I play
a grandma. That's one I'd like to see. What's your favorite role to play?
Me. No. Yourself? Really? Come on.
No, I'm a detective. I like them all, but then like because we do like a series, so like every lesson I was like a detective for like months, and then every lesson I was a superhero for months. So it's really fun at first, and then by the end it's like, okay, I really want to change character now. But a lot of them recently I've been playing me, and I like playing me. I like just being me. But I'm so obviously fun. Quite but yeah, it's all on like the green screen and animated, so it's a really fun job. Love it.
That's awesome. What about yourself, Rach? Oh yes, please, and footage.
Yeah, so I moved into Beijing the month after you did. We had never met though. Like we had been following each other on Instagram, I guess, for a while. But yeah, we moved together around the same time. And I moved here to work for an education recruitment company. So we helped recruit teachers come to China. And so like a big part of my job was doing social media and marketing for that. So it was a little bit different. I was a teacher for 3 years, but I studied marketing and media at school in the US. And so I wanted to do that again once eventually. Like I wanted to stay in China, but I wanted to do something more media related. And so I was doing that for the past 2 years. And it was super fun because every month I would meet new teachers who came to China and get to talk to them about like helping them learn about China, introduce them to China, and all those fun questions. It was really fun and exciting. So I did a lot of that. And during that time, I also got to do like a lot more with blogging and Instagram and stuff. So I was doing that for that company for 2 years.
And we used to work like on the same street because they were like partner companies. So that's really great.
Our buildings were like right next to each other, so we would be like, "Hey, let's go get some malatang today for lunch."
I love your malatang Mondays. I see it on your stories on Instagram. I'm like, I want to be there.
Oh, you're with us in spirit. We haven't done that in a while since we've been working from home, but
we need to go soon. Oh, it's really hot as well for malatang.
It's been hot. Yeah, fair.
33 malatang. It's quite, but yeah, soon. Let's be
soon. Yeah.
Awesome stuff. So was it hard for you guys to actually come to China, like in terms of like finding the job or like the visa process? Was it difficult in terms of like what you guys came to do?
I think finding the job was easy. There are tons of teaching positions. And I mean, the difficult part was narrowing down the kind of position you want and like where you want to teach, because I didn't know much about China before I came. I knew Beijing and Shanghai. I didn't know anything else really. And then also the visa process was difficult. And then once arriving here, just going through a lot of the language barriers and culture shock, because I didn't speak any Chinese before I came either. So I feel like those were some of the biggest points for me.
For me, like we were actually in South America when we started applying for jobs. So that was like a little bit harder, I guess, because we were like, we were in South America. We were trying to sort things like whilst we were away. And then we only had like 2 months at home to sort everything before we came. So it's a little bit stressful. And we nearly didn't get, because you have to come in at a certain time in the month to do the training, and we nearly didn't get the letter. And then me and Jack like had to like drive to Manchester to get emergency visas like next day, and we went like 3 days later to China. So it's a little bit stressful, I would say, for me. But then we'd also been traveling for a while, so the ease into it was kind of fine, because we were kind of used to not being at home.
Did you find there was a big expat community that you could immediately kind of get in contact with when you got to Beijing, or was that something that came slower to find?
For me, like, because we went to Nanjing first, and because I did training, and it was a big group, you kind of automatically have friends. And then when you go to your center, you automatically are friends with all those people in your center. And Nanjing is such a smaller city, like the expat community is like much tighter, I would say. When I moved to Beijing, I don't actually work with very many foreigners. And so we don't have as big of a group here. I know it's a lot different for you, Rachel, because you're very, but we've focused a lot more on making videos. But I felt like, because in Beijing, it's a much bigger city, and there's a lot more places to go. So you don't necessarily meet the same people all the time. Whereas in Nanjing, if you go to the like 1 or 2 bar, that, you know, you're going to bump into the same.
Yeah, that's true.
So, but yeah, in Beijing, I found it a bit hard.
Yeah.
But Rachel is a social butterfly, so.
Yeah. Tell us about how you go about meeting everyone, because you have a huge social group in Beijing, Rach. So how do you go about finding that or making that?
I guess for me, I was just thinking back when I first came to China, I lived in a small city. So the expat community was there. It was really tight knit because there were only like 20 of us that lived in that city. So in that sense, moving to a small city was very easy. But then it was like, there's nothing else to do. It's like the same group, which is nice because you get to know each other really well. But it was really hard to like go out and do like the normal expat international things in China. Then I moved to Guangzhou. And for me, Guangzhou was a little bit difficult to meet people and to join the expat community. I lived a little bit farther from the city center. And I didn't really, I spent time with the teachers I worked with, but it was really hard for me to meet other people. And then once I moved to Beijing, then I was like, okay, I'm ready to like jump in, have this big international city experience, but I really want to like go out and meet people and join things. And that's the cool thing about Beijing is there are so many like expat groups and like hobbies you can join. There's sports teams. There's all this stuff that you can jump in and get involved with. So I was like, okay, I'm just going to do everything. I'm going to try it all. Because when I first moved here, the first month I think was a little bit hard. I didn't like, I wasn't a teacher. Like Nico mentioned, if you're a teacher and you join with like a training group, you can meet a lot of people that way and get to know other teachers who work for the same kind of school as you. But for me, I was kind of like off on my own, like, and the same as Nico, not many foreigners worked at my company too. So it was kind of like going out with my coworkers at first. And then I joined a volleyball team. That was a huge way for me to meet people. And that was super fun. I had played volleyball in years since like university. So I was like, yes, I can play volleyball. And a lot of the teams have like sponsors with a lot of the popular bars in Beijing. So by going to a lot of those kind of events, I met people like Patty's is really popular here. XL, like there's all like popular like sports bars and expat bars where you kind of start running into the same people. And like Nico said, it is like Beijing is really big, but if you kind of hang out in the certain areas where a lot of the same foreigners will hang out, you can kind of meet people more and get more familiar with the crowds that kind of run around there. So I just started hanging out in San Latun a lot. So if anybody's in Beijing, you know San Latun. There's a lot of really popular bars there. So I started doing that with volleyball. And then I just also made like random friend groups from like I started doing trivia nights at certain bars. There's some really great ones like Four Corners or QMEX does one, the local. And I also met some people through, I don't know, just various like hobbies and interest groups. And, you know, Nico, we have like there's a YouTubers in China group that I've met some people through. And also just some like writing groups I'm in. So after a while, and also like once teachers started arriving in China and some of them would stay in Beijing, I would meet them, help them out, and then eventually keep hanging out with them while they stayed here. So it's just kind of grown and grown because of wanting to be involved in that. I think it kind of depends on like what you choose to do here and where you spend your time, you know, because it can be really hard sometimes if you are in a big area or farther away from the city center, or not wanting to go to those expat bars. Some people just like, you don't have to hang out that area. Some people don't like that scene. So there's a few different ways.
Yeah, no, that's really good. Some really good tips for how to like make a community and meet friends when you're new to a city. Like I've come back to Sydney and it's the first time in, I want to say 4 years or maybe 3 years that I've been in one place for more than a couple of weeks. So I've kind of been going all at it, trying to like make new friends and make a community and get that sense of, you know, oh, I have a group here where I haven't really had that. You know, I have friends like, but all in different places, like a couple in Beijing, a couple here, a couple in, you know, the US, a couple in Germany, like, but having that group all together, it's really nice to have that community. So it's good to just put yourself out there in that way. And I think those are really good tips, Rach. What about you, Nico? Do you have any ways that you went about like making a community for yourself in a new city?
Yeah, well, actually, I was going to point out, like, I think like when it's so different when you move somewhere, because like when you're traveling and everybody's traveling and everyone speaks to people because you're all like in hostels or like you meet people and you're all traveling and stuff. When you move to a different city, it's like a completely different like thing because everybody who already lives in that city generally already have friends, and it's a lot harder, especially as you get older and you're not at university and like you're not kind of thrown into like with people the same age as you and things like that. So I do feel like the older you get, I mean, I'm lucky because I'm here with Jack and like we have each other and we like spending our time together.
That's nice.
I know it's pretty sad, but
no, it's nice.
We like spending our time together. So like we kind of don't necessarily go out and meet a lot of people, but then we do have friends here. But at the beginning, we kind of were like so excited to be in Beijing. We're filming and got to the point that people just stopped asking us to do things.
Oh,
because they were like, we can't, we're filming, and then they're like, okay, we're just gonna ask you.
Oh well, I'm keen to. I'm definitely going to be forcing my way into your life when I'm in Beijing. Like there will be no excuse. We are going for coffees and mala tang and hot pot.
Yeah.
It'll all be happening.
That'd be good. I'm excited. I just like we have friends. We've just got to pick like what's worth it, like a hangover or like a new video.
Yeah. I just saw it. I've just been monitoring the chat happening here, and there seems to be a bit of a chat about where the best hutong is. Oopsies, my little tissue has fallen off my light. Excuse me for one moment. I have a very interesting lighting setup here. I just have my desk light facing me full frontal, and I've got like a tissue over it to dampen it. Anyway, random. Where is your favorite hutongs in Beijing? I really like Nanluo Guxiang. I think it's a really nice one, and I like all the separate ones. Like you go down that street and you can kind of go off the different pathways. Do you have a favorite hutong in BJ?
Yes. Mine is kind of across the street from Nanluo Guxiang. It's like the Fangjia Hutong area, and also Wudaoying. There's some really nice little coffee shops and like restaurants and little bars down Wudaoying. It's a little bit more touristy, I guess, but I like it. It's cute. But then also if you like go further in, there's like the Modernista Hutong. Do you guys know Modernista?
No.
It's a really cool bar. There's like a lot of really great like Yunnan restaurants, and like it's just like all across the street from Nanluo Guxiang. I love that area.
Yeah, that would be my favorite area. Like, I'm not a big fan of Nanluo Guxiang, like that side, but as soon as you cross like the Gula Road, like opposite is a really great one, and like two of my favorite like places are actually on that road opposite. Like, I really like a restaurant / bar called Nina's, which is an Italian place, and another one called El Nido, which is like a Mexican.
Ooh, El Nido is so good.
Yeah, they're my favorite places. But then I also really like Angulo Road, like Alba and Zara. And
Oh, I like that. Yeah.
I like my hutong because it's nice to see people. Like it's quite like it's got nothing impressive. I just like walking around it.
So I was going to bring this up later as a topic, but since we're kind of on the topic now, you guys both live in hutong housing, like in the hutong areas, which has always been my dream. Can you give us a little insight into what it's actually like living in a hutong? And if you're watching this and you may not know what a hutong is, it's basically the really old school alleyways you can find in Beijing, very, very traditional feeling. And yeah, traditionally the housing in hutongs were very like kind of cramped and, you know, shared toilet and running water just in one section, but now they've become kind of modernized. So anyway, enough from me. What's it like living in a hutong? Give me everything, everything. I want all the details.
All the things. Yeah, I've lived in my hutong almost 2 years now. Like right when I first moved here, basically I moved into one because like I've always wanted to live in like the traditional style of Beijing. I like really love the local feel and all the little shops around. But mine is like a really small, like little hutong because I live near Lama Temple, if anybody's familiar with that.
Yes.
It's like right near the center of Beijing. It's a little bit pricey to live in the center of Beijing, but I love it because the hutong area, it's really cool. It's a very local neighborhood. I have these neighbors that I see and say hi to all the time. You'll see like the guys sitting outside every night, like smoking cigarettes and having a chat, or like the ladies like preparing dinner and stuff, and little kids running around. And so I love the whole like local neighborhood feel of it. And then the hutongs itself is just, a lot of them have been more renovated. Like the hutongs before didn't have like bathrooms inside. They had like neighborhood hutong bathrooms, which you'll still see if you like walk through the hutongs. But a lot of them have been renovated. It's very popular for foreigners to want to try to move into hutongs now, like we are living in them. So they've renovated them a lot, made it nicer. You'll have like more Western style bathroom. You'll have air conditioning and heating. A lot of hutongs will have like heated floor because Beijing winter gets very cold. So it's like a really fun way to like live and experience more local traditional side of Beijing life.
I love that so much. What about you, Nico? Are your hutongs close by or kind of?
A little, kind of close. I think I could cycle to yours in like 15 minutes.
Yeah, they're kind of close by. I don't live like I live like near. Yeah, pretty much. I mean, like a few blocks away, but like a few blocks away. But like a block of Beijing's quite bigger than you think. But I mean, you could cycle there pretty quickly. I would say. I live like in a slightly less renovated area, maybe I would say. It's a bit more like a local hutong. There's not really any like, there's a few restaurants, but it's not kind of like gentrified that much as much as like Nanugaoxing area and stuff like that.
No, I love that more traditional feel.
I love it. Like I've obviously like it features quite heavily in a lot of my videos, and I did like a hutong house tour when we first moved here. Since then, my hutong has improved a lot. I've bought some better things for my house. It's now been like 3 years, so like, okay. At first, it's a bit bare. We didn't even have a TV, but you can see what it's like on my channel. But yeah, I just love like the feel when you walk around the hutongs, you see the same faces and like, it's just such a nice community to live in. It just feels like, and also with you living like on the ground rather than like, we lived in like on the 20th floor in Nanjing, and it was just so much effort. Whereas now I'm just like, I can walk straight out my door and I'm like, I'm on the ground.
Love that. Ease of access. But I am monitoring the chat a little bit, and a lot of people are commenting on the fact that it is super sad that a lot of those hutong areas are slowly like disappearing and getting smaller. I know that a lot of those sections have been put under protection by the government. Like, you know, this is a historic area. Nothing's gonna happen here, but it is good. It is shrinking, that space, which I find a huge shame. And I remember when I was in Shanghai in 2014, they had a lot of like super traditional areas, not hutongs, but like kind of traditionally alleyway things. And going back now, they're like hardly any of them are left. So I find that, that's really sad. Do you see that happening? Like it getting smaller? Is that something that you've seen?
Yeah, actually in the last few years, they've been really changing the hutong areas in Beijing. I know right before we both moved here, actually, everybody was telling me that summer, 2017, 2018, a lot of like traditional hutong places were shut down. All these like favorite restaurants, all these like local little places, because the city wanted to renovate a lot of areas. But it changed a lot of the feel. Like everybody was telling me, you should have moved to Beijing like a year ago. Like they shut down all our favorite hutong places. But in some ways it's different, but it's also nice because last year, close to my hutong area, Lama Temple, they renovated the whole street. Like the whole street was closed down for several months. Yeah. And it was like, there was all this construction going on. You were there. Yeah. And then they like totally redid all the outside of the buildings to make it look like more of the traditional hutong style, which was really interesting. Yeah. So I feel like some of that's still going on.
Yeah. I feel like it was a big thing when we just moved and they like bricked up a lot of like open windows and stuff, which I think is a real shame because some of the like Nina's, like for instance, Nina's had this beautiful like doorway you'd go in and now it's just like a hole and it's I think things like that are quite sad, but it doesn't seem to be as like noticeable maybe last summer to this summer. So maybe like I'm like praying like that was it and hopefully it will
I hope so too.
worse, but
for me, a lot of Beijing's character comes from those hutongs. And so one of my favorite things to do is walking around there. And I feel like I know that a lot of them have been renovated and, you know, that have been tidied up a lot. But I don't know, I feel like walking through there, I kind of get directly transported almost to the past. And, you know, you see people living how they've been living for a really long time. And maybe they've been born in that hutong. And I feel like it would be a huge shame if that was to disappear. But yeah, I guess that's out of our control, really.
I also like how it's kind of quite like low. I feel like you kind of don't get that in a lot of Chinese cities. Obviously, there's lots of high-rise buildings.
In terms of like
it kind of feels like the center is like really like low, like nice, and I don't know.
You don't feel like you're in the middle of China's capital. You feel like you could be, you know, back in the olden days almost. It is really nice to have that and a sense of like calm and peace in the middle of the city. Well, Beijing is so huge. Like, there are a lot of nice little peaceful places you can go. But I know in Sydney, our CBD is probably like a little speck in Beijing. So, crazy. Well, we've talked about our hutongs. Anything you'd like to add on the hutong topic before we move on to Great Wall?
I'm sure there's a million more things I could say about it, but like
here's something I want to ask. Give me your favorite thing about living in a hutong and your least favorite thing about living in a hutong.
My favorite thing would probably be like how, well, we just talked about like the character and stuff. I really like the character and like how convenient it is. And my least favorite thing is like the upstairs of my hutong gets like really, really hot because it's like a
mine too,
roof and it's like a black tar roof, and it's really hot in the summer. That's why I prefer winter because I've got the
Interesting.
And also my drain smells really bad. And I mentioned this in one of my videos because I don't have a U-bend. And everyone's like, you must have a U-bend. I don't have a U-bend in my upstairs sink and it smells really bad. So I hate that.
Interesting.
Yeah, I feel like mine's kind of similar. The probably the worst thing, or one of the difficult things, at least in my hutong, it gets hot up at the top. It's like a loft kind of. So it gets hot there, but then during the winter, it's really cold. I don't have heated floors. I do have a heater, but I don't have heated floors. So maybe that's why I hate winter here so much. But overall, it's not bad. Like, it's fine. I have a heater. So I'd say like that's one of the more inconvenient things about living in a hutong. Yeah. But because like I love the neighborhood and I love the traditional side of being in this area and the convenience, like you said, Nico, that more than makes up for it.
Yeah. Oh, nice. I can't wait to one day live in one myself. I can't wait to be back. Really missing it. But hopefully it's not too much longer. Anyway, onto a very, very fun topic, which I'm really excited to discuss. The Great Wall of China, which is, of course, there's a lot of sections close to Beijing or in Beijing. And Rachel is like the expert on Great Wall. And we all have some fun stories about the Great Wall that we're going to share about our experiences there. So first of all, I want to start with you, Rach. So how many times have you been through the Great Wall? Have you got a tally?
I think it's at 12 now, or 13 times, I think.
13 times, wow. And do you have a favorite
record?
Yeah, like, do you have a favorite section?
Oh yeah, for sure. I actually have some photos to share of that in a little bit.
Share.
But yeah, do you want to see it? Do you want to share it? Do you want to see it now? Okay, because I'll talk a little bit about my. Okay, okay, I'm gonna show you guys. Because I have like a few, like I have two favorite sections I would recommend. So let me show you guys.
Okay.
Because there are lots of different sections you can go to, like you guys probably know. Can you guys see now?
Oh my gosh. Guys, like this is what I'm talking about. Rachel's photos are ridiculous. Oh, it's gone really zoomed in. Okay.
Is it gone?
Yeah.
Can you see it now?
I can see it now. Yeah.
Do I need to make this big screen or is it fine?
It's all right. That's fine like that. I think if you go big screen, it might be hard for you to
also look at you.
Yeah.
Okay, great. Okay, so yeah, this is like one of my photos that I took with my tripod, introducing the Great Wall to you guys. So I'll just talk a little bit, like briefly, like give kind of like a brief overview of the Great Wall sections and a few of my favorite ones and some cool experiences that you can try there. And we can kind of like just jump in if you guys have your own stories and things to talk about.
Yeah.
But basically, you guys know, like if you're trying to go to the Great Wall from Beijing, there's lots of different sections to go to. A few of the more popular ones are Badaling. That's very popular with the Chinese tourist crowd. So I don't really recommend that one to people trying to visit the Great Wall. But then there's also Mutianyu, Jinshanling, Simitai, a few other popular ones that people have heard about before. So just a few things, like when people ask me all the time, which section should I go to? Where do I go? Because you want to have a really good trip, especially if you only have one chance to visit the Great Wall. So it's just good to recommend to think about before you go, like the hiking difficulty. Some sections are restored or unrestored. So you want to make sure, like if you're not in super top physical shape, or if you're traveling with young kids or older people, to think about that. Think about the transportation. There are some trains. There's a train that goes to Badaling. Otherwise, you need to figure out public buses or book a private van or something to go to the wall. Also the distance from Beijing, if there are going to be crowds, and then also the season and the weather, because that will really impact your Great Wall trip. So that was my tour guide, Rachel voice.
Amazing.
Let's go to the fun part. So Mutianyu is one of the best ones to visit. I think if you have one chance to go to Beijing, you're traveling with some friends or your family. This is a popular one because it has the toboggan ride down the side of it. It's got great views. It's not a super difficult hike. So this is kind of the one I recommend. And when my sister visited me, I took her here because it's a really fun one. And it's not like a crazy exhausting.
I took my parents there too, and we went on the toboggan. It was all very fun.
They like it. Oh, it's a fun day. So that's a good one.
And you almost feel like an ancient Chinese, you know, I'm sure they had the toboggan back in the day, you know.
Definitely.
Traditional structure.
Traditional Chinese, 5,000 years of toboggan history.
I know. It's gorgeous history.
This like goes to my next one, Jinshanling, which is my personal favorite section of the Great Wall. It has the most beautiful views, the best hiking, and it's farther away. It's like 2 hours outside the city, so it takes a little bit longer to get to, but it's 100% worth the drive because I never see many people there. I mean, depending on the time you go, but really not many people are there. It's very easy to take great photos here because people aren't around. You can hike at your own leisure, and it's just gorgeous. Like I've been during different seasons, like during summer and spring and winter, and every time it's just a gorgeous place to visit. So
can you zoom in on that one on the left?
Sure.
That looks like an amazing photo, the one on the left-hand side. I just want to see it closer up.
Yeah.
Oh yeah! Wow, that's crazy. Was it really cold to shoot that photo?
It was freezing. Oh my gosh! So I have a photographer friend. I actually did not take this photo. I have a photographer friend that I went with, and he was like, "Let's go shoot sunrise. There's going to be snow." And I was like, "I haven't hiked in the snow on the Great Wall before. It was always on my bucket list." So we woke up really early, and we had this plan. I was like, "I want to wear my red dress, but it's freezing outside, and I don't want to like die of hypothermia just for these photos on the wall. Like I'm going to be like safe about it." So like I bundled my dress up under my big coat and all these layers. And so he would be like, okay, let's take a photo. And like in like 10 seconds, like rip all my clothes off, whip out my dress, take a few photos, and then huddle back under my coat again. So it was like a process we had to do several times because it was freezing.
Oh, it's a fantastic photo. And guys, like if you want to see more photos like this, go and follow Rachel on Instagram. You will not be disappointed. Wow,
and I love like sharing
stuff.
behind the scenes too. Yeah. So you can see like, I'll share videos of me like taking my clothes off to put my dress out. And, you know, I mean, that sounds weird. Okay. To show my dress, like things like that.
Amazing.
Oh, well. Anyways.
So Jinshangling, your favorite?
Jinshangling, absolutely my favorite. My second favorite would be this one, Huanghuacheng, which is a lakeside section, really beautiful by the lake. I didn't know about this one for a long time, but I would recommend it if you want a different kind of view of the Great Wall next to a really popular, like beautiful lake. So this is a really nice one as well. Then here's another really interesting one. I think, Nico, you've been here. This is a Simitai Gubei Watertown one, and it's really cute. There's a section of the Great Wall right next to this little like water town. It's a little bit touristy, but it's fun. You can walk around the town, go to the wall, and you can also like stay in one of the hotels nearby. There's like some spas. So this is a fun one for like a little weekend getaway trip.
I haven't been there. No, I've only been to Jinshanling. We did like a hike from Gwebeco to Jinshanling, and I've been to Mutanyu, and that's it.
Okay. Oh, nice. Yeah, those are a few of my favorite ones. There's a lot of other ones you can go to as well. There's some restored, some more unrestored. It really just depends on the experience you want, how much time you have, all of those kind of things. There's a few other things about the Great Wall that I love. So I've camped on the Great Wall a few times, which is a really cool experience. Yes. This is like a big thing for a lot of people. Like if you've got extra time, I highly recommend camping on the Great Wall because you can camp out, watch the sunrise. It's really, a really great experience. So I've camped on it twice now. There's a few different companies you can book with actually, and they make it super easy for you. So the first company I went with is called Great Wall Fresh, which is a really popular like booking camping trip that you can do in Beijing. It's really far away, actually. It's like 2.5 or 3 hours outside Beijing, but they come pick you up at the metro station. It's like a little family-run business. They cook some really good food for you before you go hike up the wall. It's on a really unrestored section, though, and this is one of the most unrestored sections I've seen. It's just like really rocky.
Wow, crazy.
Yeah, I actually went in October though, so we camped out and we were fine, but in the middle of the night it got super cold and it rained a lot. So and the tents got super soaked. It was still a good experience, but I highly recommend like make sure you do a little bit of research, check the weather. Probably don't go in October or November when it be cold and rainy, but it's still a lot of fun. And they had all the tent equipment and like all of that for us that when we got there. So we just had to hike up with it, but we didn't have to worry about bringing it by our own self.
Yeah.
And then the other time I went camping was actually just like a month ago. And it was with a tour group in Beijing called CET Trip. And it's really great. They do lots of little day trips from Beijing, lots of fun activities. So if you're a foreigner living in Beijing, I highly recommend you follow them on WeChat because this is how I like do a lot of fun day trips from Beijing. And they do a camping trip as well. And this was actually at the lakeside section of the Great Wall as well. And it's so beautiful. And they also organized like a little barbecue for us. We got some food. Then they also had all the tents and the equipment for us again. And so we just hiked up the wall with it, camped out. It was so great. The summertime was awesome. We just hung out, had some drinks, had some barbecue. It was a good time. Played some music, played some cards, woke up early to watch the sunrise. It was amazing. So I highly recommend like camping on the Great Wall if you have the chance. Yeah. There's some people who like also book it on their own. Like you can organize it yourself if you have your own equipment and you organize a driver. So it just kind of depends where you want to camp and what kind of experience you want. And that leads me to my last thing. I'm sorry, I'm talking like a million miles an hour. I just
great info. Keep talking.
I love the Great Wall. So I'm very excited about it. And then my last experience to talk about on the Great Wall is there are lots of different festivals you can go to, usually every summer. There's the Great Wall Music Festival. There's Yin Yang Festival. So Nico and I actually were at Yin Yang last year together on the Great Wall. Really it was at Jinshanling. I think you're in this photo. There you are. It was so fun. And like they have all these, they had like 3 different like stages with different like music and different DJs lined up for the whole night. And you could literally just party all night long on the Great Wall. They had hotels nearby that you could book to stay in, as well as like tents you could rent. But some people just partied literally the whole night long, watched the sunrise, listened to music. It was so fun. I'm so disappointed I can't do it again this year. It was a good time though.
Yeah. Oh wow, like that looks amazing. So like there seem to be so many awesome activities you can do on the Great Wall. So I've never done the festival. I would love to do that festival. I have, there's also a marathon you can do on the Great Wall that seems to be quite popular, but I find that would be super dangerous. Like, is it just me, or like you've got these little like rock things, like little bits of ancient wall.
Yes, yes. And the Great Wall was designed so that the steps weren't going to be even. So like you're not constantly having a steady pace. You have to like adjust every step because some are higher or lower or more spread out. I don't know.
Crazy, huh? Like I don't know how people would do that. Maybe if someone has done that marathon, they could comment in the chat. I would love to know more about it. One thing I did do on the Great Wall, I participated in a yoga class on the Great Wall, which was very fabulous. Very lovely way to relax on the Great Wall. But yeah, I have been to many sections myself, not as much as yourself, Rachel, but yeah, definitely when I go back, I need to expand my horizons. I particularly like the look of that lakeside one. But
yeah, I really want to go
think
there. And I camp as well.
Oh yeah, you want to camp soon, Nico, but like you've participated in probably the coolest thing that anyone could do on the Great Wall. Nico, can you tell us? Can you tell us here today what you did on the Great Wall recently?
Yeah, I can. I have a photo. So
Please
I don't know if most people know this, but I did mention it. But me and Jack, we took our wedding photos on the Great Wall. So this was probably my favorite wedding photos. I'm just going to share one.
Oh, it's so beautiful.
Bore you with my wedding photo. But we are going to try and make a video about it, so you can watch that, and I'll bore you with them on that one instead.
Oh, so good.
And, we mentioned it in one of our last videos. So yeah, so we actually got married on Christmas Day, 2018, and we went to Mitanyu because there's a really beautiful hotel, really beautiful hotel like near there called the Brickyard, and so we got married there and went up to Mitanyu to take some photos with tripod because obviously Jack's in front of the camera. And Rachel, it's like,
so you did a tripod for those photos. It wasn't a photographer.
Yeah, we did. No. It was just us, so we took us.
They're beautiful.
Thanks. It was beautiful light, and it was the same thing as like what you were saying. Like it was so cold. Like I can't even explain how cold it was. Like, there's no snow because it was like -10 or 15 or something. And we had to keep doing the same, like putting our coats on, like warming our hands up, and then like quickly throwing our coats off and posing. So we did a few different places.
It's difficult, right? It's so hard.
Yeah. And also like
you're like, we gotta do it for the photo.
And also it gets dark. So like at like 5 or 6, so like quickly because it shuts at 5. So yeah, we did it, and it's great. And I have some more photos, so hopefully we'll do a video soon if you want to see.
Yes, please. I'm eagerly awaiting. One. It's beautiful. Oh man, what a beautiful place to get wedding photos taken.
Yeah, we thought we could have really
that's goals. I would love to do that.
Like it was a once in a lifetime opportunity, and probably the best thing that I've done at the Great Wall.
Oh, amazing. Oh, I'm excited for us to all be in Beijing together and go to the Great Wall and vlog about it.
Yes. Oh my gosh, yes.
Rachel, you'll be our tour guide for sure. I'll just do whatever you tell me to do.
You'll be the translator, okay?
I'll be the translator. I'll help us with our communication. Nico, you can provide snacks.
And entertainment for us.
And
tell us some jokes
entertainment.
Or something.
Yes.
Yeah.
No, I'm good at snacks. We always get snacks with us. Jack has a healthy supply of snacks ready for me because I get very hangry in places.
I get hangry. This ring here that I'm wearing, it says hangry.
I thought I was going to say something cute about your boyfriend. You're like,
no, it says hangry because I get so hangry. Yeah, when I'm hungry, like I've been traveling with like my sister and my parents and my boyfriend obviously before, and they know that when I'm hangry, you either want to feed me or get out of my radius, because I'm usually quite a nice person, I'd like to think, but when I'm hungry, like everything goes out the window and it's like all of my primal survival instincts just like kick in. So yes, I am also always have a snack on me. So Nico, I can really relate to you on that.
Jack keeps like pocket sweets that he's like, do you need a sweet? And I'm like, yes, I need
a bribes it with you.
Well, okay, yeah, it's in his interest. Keep you fed. Oh my goodness. Amazing. Are there any let's look at some questions from the chat and see if there's anything we would like to answer here. Oh, there are some weird comments here today.
I haven't been paying attention for a little while.
Yeah, no, you know what? Maybe we just keep talking. Just keep talking. What did you guys get up to this weekend in Beijing? What does your weekend usually look like?
This weekend was kind of busy for me. So I do Rachel Meets China, but I also have a Beijing-based organization and podcast called Date Night China, where we talk about dating in China and what it's like. We share a podcast and we record episodes, and we also plan events for it. And we want to get people mixing and mingling and start conversations about what it's like dating in China, because like living in China is interesting and challenging, but dating in China is also a little challenging.
I met my boyfriend in China, in Beijing.
Did you? How did you meet each other?
Oh, the good old Tinder.
Hey, Tinder success story.
Yes. No, it was very successful.
Oh my God, you could totally be on my podcast.
I'd love to be there. Talk about my experiences on Tinder in Beijing. Yeah.
Because some people get a little discouraged here on Tinder.
Oh no, I felt like in my heart it was time. Like I needed to like meet someone, and I didn't. I don't really like going to bars or clubs. I'm not a night owl. I'm a bit of a grandma. I want to stay at home and read like anytime from 8 p.m. onwards. So I was like, how am I going to meet anyone? And so I went on Tinder, and I found that there's a lot of great options in Beijing on Tinder, because like you already have so much in common with the person that you match with, like and I found that I met a lot of really interesting people like through that as a tool of meeting people. So I would love to talk more about it on your podcast.
Oh my gosh, we totally should. I would love that, because it could be a little bit interesting or different. Like it's been a little bit weird during the pandemic time for a lot of people, because usually Beijing is a huge international city with lots of international people coming and going, interesting people, like you said, and you're already like-minded, you're living abroad, you're that kind of person who wants that adventure, that lifestyle. So that's a lot of bonding. But then there's a lot of challenges with like intercultural dating, people from different countries meeting and dating. Like you and your boyfriend are from different countries. So sometimes there's just gaps and bridges that you have to like communicate and figure out.
Like I never thought there would be so many cultural differences between Australia and Germany, but that was naive of me. Like there are so many, and it's been really eye-opening.
Totally. But that's great. Oh my gosh, I would love to talk to you more about that. So because we basically interview people about their stories, like how did you meet, like, or how has your dating experience been? And we started doing events now. We just had a trivia mixer this weekend, so that I was kind of busy doing that kind of stuff. So we just are trying to like mix and match people and just like give people a good time, start some conversations. But it was good.
Have you met someone in Beijing through your method? Like
actually, here's a funny story. So I run this podcast with two other people, two friends. One is a girl from England, Eleanor, and one is a guy from England named Nathan.
You're dating him, right?
I am.
Amazing.
It took some time. I mean, we did the podcast for like 8 months. We were just like really good friends, and then And now it's just like a funny, like, now we're dating. And,
isn't that
people
such
are
a
like,
fun way to meet? Like you met,
it's a great story.
you met doing a dating podcast. Like
I
amazing.
know. What are the odds? I never would have expected it was going to happen.
Have you done an episode on it yet? Like,
No, we haven't. We're actually like on our summer break, so I think maybe in season 2 we'll talk about it. I don't know.
Where
I think
can
people
we,
will be really surprised.
if you could plug your podcast a bit, like where can we find this podcast?
Sure. So it's called Date Night China, and it is, you can find it on Apple Podcast, on Spotify, on most other podcast apps, or we have a WeChat official account so that we promote, we write articles, plan events. So if you just search Date Night China on WeChat, you can find us there. And we have all kinds of international guests and international stories. So it's not just, foreign expats, it's Chinese voices and other voices. And it's a lot of fun. So if anybody's interested in dating stories and that kind of thing, we're doing a lot there.
You're a busy bee, Rach. It sounds busy.
It's busy, but it's so fun. I enjoy it. I get to meet a lot of people, talk to a lot of people. I meet a lot of friends that way now. So it's fun.
Yeah.
It's good.
I bet. Oh, well.
To know if people that go into mixers like me, that'll be really good to get on your show if they hit it off and stuff. Amy, so this question came up, which reminded me, Amy, you went on a dating show.
I did.
Oh my God, you did. How is that?
I did.
Tell us about that.
Yeah, so that was crazy. Actually, I would have a lot to talk to you, Rachel, about dating in China.
I watched that video that you did. I would love to talk to you more about that. Oh my gosh.
It's like an out-of-body experience. I can't believe that was me. It was honestly one of the weirdest things that I've ever done. But yeah, I was posting on Weibo, some videos and stuff. And then one of the producers reached out to me and was like, hey, are you interested in being on this show? And I was like, you know what? Yeah, why not? And
oh my gosh.
so we were talking and then I went and met them in person and talked about what I wanted to get out of the show. And so we talked about basically what I was going to say because, my Chinese isn't super good. I'm not really fluent, and to be on TV and I wanted to at least know what to prepare and what questions they would ask me. So everything was pretty planned. I knew what kind of questions they were going to ask and I knew what I had to prepare. And and just the craziest things happened. I asked everyone to do push-ups. I got everyone on stage to do skipping. I think
saw that. They were doing activities. That was so funny.
Yeah.
You don't
I made it super,
especially Chinese TV shows.
Well, the thing is that I did that because that originally was supposed to be a talent show. And they wanted me to sing or do a dance. And, I don't really have much talent except for kind of just getting on stage and perhaps making a bit of a fool of myself. So I got up and did some skipping and I was like, now it's your turn. And so everyone came up on stage and did some skipping with me. And then at the end, I had the guy that I chose and then he didn't end up choosing me. And then I came out in this panda hat and then it was really weird. But I never saw or talked to that guy ever again.
Did you not go on a date with him or anything then?
No. He didn't choose me. I was rejected.
Oh, you were rejected.
There was no, yeah.
Well, so you had to pick each other. It wasn't you did.
I thought you got to choose one of them.
Yeah.
So yes, I do, but then they have to choose you as well. So I think they're told that you chose them, and then they can decide what they do with that. Yeah. So I can't really remember how that all happened, but I kind of knew that he was going to reject me. I think they kind of determined before I even went on stage that there was no one there that was interested in that pairing. I kind of knew that was going to be the outcome, and to be honest, I was pretty keen for a bit of fun and excitement and a bit of the spotlight, and it's a fun experience that I can share with my grandkids one day, hopefully.
Absolutely.
I mean, even just a TV show in China is pretty cool. But that's definitely a random experience.
TV shows in China are I've been on a few now, and
wow.
It's always it's Yeah, I did a little bit of that when I was studying there in 2017. I was on a couple of like Chinese language shows, and I was on a Chinese language competition in 2015, or I think. Yeah, crazy. I
Wow.
can't believe I did that stuff. I don't think I'd do it again, but
What a cool
we'll see.
experience, though. Do you feel like
Yeah.
you wouldn't do it again just because it was it like stressful or just kind of like a little bit weird or interesting or just like a lot
I
of
don't know,
preparation
like-
you had to put in?
Like, I think a lot of foreigners, when they go to China, they fall into the trap of doing a lot of the white monkey thing, you know. Oh, I'm going to go on this
Yes.
TV show. I'm going to be
Dance
that
for us.
foreigner speaking Chinese,
Yes.
dancing, singing. I don't know. I did it, and I kind of realized that I don't really want to do so much that anymore, and like subject myself to being that like weird foreigner on the screen that people are laughing at. So
After a while, you kind of get tired of that.
yeah. So if it's in that capacity, no, I don't think I would do another show like that. I would love to be on something like 世界青年说 or like informal talks. It's that TV show where there's a bunch of essentially white dudes that come together and talk about world affairs, but there's never any girls on that show, and I'm like, where are the ladies at? I don't think my Chinese is good enough to be on that show, but I would at least love to see some female representation on those shows. I know that there's one awesome one of my friends in Beijing, Pinky or Xingyun, she went on that, and yeah,
Wow.
she was really good.
That's
Her Chinese is incredible. Yeah.
Wow. That would be really cool. What a great thing. Yeah.
Yeah. But yeah.
Maybe when you come back to China.
Maybe. We'll see what happens. But yeah, that's my little experience with Chinese TV.
What a great time. I was on the Chinese news one time, but I was so unprepared for like how to handle that because it was my first year in China. I didn't speak any Chinese, but it was interesting because it was like in Hunan province. I lived in a small little city, and we took a trip to the countryside, and we were like in this flower field. You know, in the springtime, all the yellow flowers, like what are they called? I think they're called like rape flowers, I think. But they were really beautiful. I think so. Like, isn't that what they're called?
Yeah.
Flowers. Yeah, it's really beautiful. And so I took a trip there with some of my university students, and there was a news camera there, or a camera TV studio, and they were just like taking videos and shots about the flowers. They were like, oh my god, why go in? You know, like they weren't expecting to see a foreigner in the middle of nowhere in this Hunan little city. So they were like, hey, can we talk? And they were like, do you speak some Chinese? You know, 你会说中文吗? And I'm like, 不会，会说一点点。我的中文不好. So they're like, okay, it's fine. You just speak in English, and we'll just translate it underneath you later on. So that's what I did.
Amazing.
It was really basic. But at the time, I was like, wow, I was on the news in China. I'm pretty sure it was just like on a local TV station. I'm sure it was nothing big. There's probably like 100 people that watched it. So, but I felt like, wow, this is interesting. This has never happened to me back home.
No, that's really cool.
I've been on I think twice, maybe 3 times. I think I was on one of the things. When we went to Inner Mongolia, there was a camera crew there, and that was the local news as well. And I just I was just speaking about the place that we were staying in, and then we went skiing in Zhangjiakou. Is that right? Yeah, we went skiing there, and they made me go on the news there, and I think that was the Beijing news. And I had to speak about doing this paper cutting. Like the woman who like got us like a good deal on the hotel, she was like, "Oh, do you want to come and do paper cutting?" And I was like, "No, I kind of want to ski." And all that. She was like, "Yeah, we're gonna do paper cutting." Like, we'll make me do it, and then they made me talk about it, and I was like, "Okay."
Okay.
Fine.
The things you get roped into being a foreigner in China. Once I was in Shenzhen with my friend Ben, and we were filming some vlogs for my channel, and we were on the beach, and then there was a filming crew there, and they were like, hey, like, do you mind being in this promo video we're shooting? And we were kind of like, oh no, we're all right. And they were like, no, please, can you please just be in this video? Just walk down the beach with a couple of other foreigners. And then they were like, we were there for like 50 minutes running up and down the beach, twirling. They were like, oh, come on, look happier. Like, come on, like, be happy. You're on the beach. And I was like, what is going on? It was so weird. I wonder where that promo video went. Like, I would love to see.
Oh, that's hilarious.
Yeah. Well, let's see if there's any last minute questions here. Otherwise, we'll think about wrapping up this live stream. It's been so much fun. Oh, this is an interesting question. What is the biggest misconception people have traveling, visiting to China? What was the safety issue? Well, I would say in terms of the safety issue, I've never had a problem with my personal safety in China. I've been to a lot of places. I don't know if you guys have the same experience, but I've never felt in danger or unsafe in China. It's probably, of the countries I've traveled to, it's probably one of the safer places. What do you guys reckon about that?
It's the safest country I've ever been to, I would say.
Yeah.
I agree. I travel alone everywhere, and even like I've never had a problem when traveling by myself. People have always been friendly. I've always felt really safe. And also, even just living in Beijing, in a big city, I go out a lot at night. I travel by myself. I walk around the city in the dark. I mean, of course, use like common sense that you would use in any country when you're by yourself or traveling, that kind of thing. But I've always just felt very safe here.
Yeah, I'm the same. Like, Sydney is a very safe city, and Australia is very safe. But even I wouldn't walk through a public park at night. But in China, like walking through a public park, like the craziest thing you'll see is some people playing chess or cards or dancing around. Like
dancing, they're just square dancing.
I completely agree.
I feel like it's very safe.
I used to live in Nottingham, which isn't the safest city in
England. I haven't heard things.
I mean, it's like nicknames called Shottingham. So I used to get a taxi to like the end of my street, and I used to run down the street because I was scared. Whereas here, like 2 a.m., I would walk around. Well, I mean, like on my own here, and I just wouldn't feel the same. Level of unsafety.
Different.
But I think what a big misconception here is, although some places are difficult to travel if you don't speak Chinese, I would say that quite a big misconception is that it is really hard to travel in China. Like as a tourist, like you have to take a tour, or like you have to go with like a guided, you know, like there's a lot of people from like that come in to just travel China, and they do a lot of tours, and it's like you can travel China on your own. There are English signs. People are really helpful. You can use like translate apps. I think some places are obviously a lot more harder if you were going like not to cities, but I think like to travel around China, to go to big cities and stuff, it's super easy. It's much easier than
kind of plays into Joe's question here. He's asking, can you get around without knowing Chinese? And I guess you guys have said it's okay, at least in the big cities, especially with the help of modern technology. I would always recommend, like, before you go to China, know some simple phrases that are gonna help you out, especially when it comes to like getting on trains or public transport, taxis, ordering in restaurants. Everyday Chinese will be like so helpful for you to learn. When it comes to going to like smaller places, I'd say it's still possible. Definitely everything is possible. And I know a lot of people that have traveled around China extensively with zero Chinese language at all. But yeah, it definitely makes it a lot more comfortable. And for me, a big draw card of going to those smaller towns is to learn about people and how they live and the local specialties. And I guess if you don't know the Chinese language, you're not going to get that extra like dimension to your trip. So yeah, I'd say you can go anywhere without Chinese, but I think your experience will be enhanced if you do know it. But that's the same with every country. Like, you're going to get more out of a trip to Thailand if you can speak Thai and you can speak to the people there. You're going to get more out of a trip to Australia if you can speak English or Australian.
100%. Yeah, I agree. I think a lot of people are worried, especially if you're like for a trip, it definitely helps. But also people who are coming here to teach in China, I always get questions like, I'm going to go live in China for a year. Do I need to speak Chinese? And I always tell them the same thing. Like, yeah, you don't need to come here and know Chinese. Like, you're going to be fine teaching in the classroom. You can live here. There's lots of foreigners who live here and don't speak much Chinese, but it will greatly enhance your daily life and your travel experiences. I mean, especially because of WeChat Translate, there's all these like technology translation apps and things nowadays that are going to help you. And a lot of the apps that you use in China to book train tickets or that kind of thing are in English, like we use C-Trip. So you don't need to know Chinese to that extent, but it definitely is going to help you and like enhance your experience here.
Yeah, totally. What any thoughts on that, Nico? Or
well, yeah, I mean, I already said my. I think so, and that is it. But yeah, I completely
You're like,
agree.
no more.
Well, yeah,
Yeah.
but what I would say is like if you get Google Translate, also they like download the offline version, and then you can use it.
Yeah.
Where's the cockroach?
Right?
Is there? I don't know.
What?
I can't see it.
Is
But-
it more?
In my house.
I don't know. Maybe it like I don't know if there was.
It's gonna like
I don't know.
drop on your head.
Someone commented, so maybe there was like it's. I
Maybe
don't
it
know.
crawled
Never had a
out.
cockroach in my house.
Maybe it wasn't. Maybe it's something on their screen. I don't know. Maybe did anyone else see it? I don't know. Probably not. I just thought I'd let you know just in case.
I feel like everybody would be talking about it.
Yeah.
Although, so last night we were like sat out in a Jack's gone to investigate.
Get it. Find the cockroach.
Go get it.
You get him.
Last night we were like in our courtyard and we were having a cider because it was
Hey,
it was really
Jack.
busy.
Hi, Jack.
You can't hear.
Oh, you can't
Oh,
hear.
you got your
Got your
headphones in.
headphones on.
We was outside having a drink in our little courtyard, and I was like, basically, I was like, "What's that?" And I don't know if you've ever seen these, Rachel, but these are like a mythical creature here in the Hutongs, and they're called Hutong weasels, and they're like squirrels, and they're like, well, they're weasels, obviously.
I've seen them.
But they look like a squirrel, yeah, and it like ran across the wall like above Jack's
Yes.
head, and I was like,
Wait,
Yeah.
inside your Huton?
yeah, like on
Or
our courtyard, like where
Oh,
we
in
were
your
sat.
courtyard. I think you meant inside your house. I was like, oh my god.
No, like on our wall.
Yeah.
I was like,
Oh, outside. Yeah, I've seen them running around late at night. Yeah.
and
that
I've
was a
seen a
cat.
scorpion in our courtyard, but
An actual
No.
scorpion, like a real scorpion.
yeah,
That's some Indiana Jones shit right there. That's crazy. That's
Mm,
crazy.
yeah, but yeah. I don't know where this cockroach is. I've not seen a cockroach. I hope that there is one. Is
I'm sure it
this?
was just something on their screen. I
might,
haven't
maybe.
seen anyone else that says that there's any cockroach business happening. Yeah. Some people are asking when a foreigner's allowed to go to China again. I have no idea. I'll be going as soon as I can.
Big question. The big question everybody wants to know. Unfortunately,
Yeah.
none of us know. Sad.
Oh wow.
Yeah, I don't
So-
know if that's going to be this year. I would probably say it's maybe going to be towards the end, if that. I think whilst it's still bad in other places, then China's not going to risk it, and I'm not surprised. Like,
Yeah.
so yeah, it's one of those. Who knows, you know?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, this has been a lovely stream. I am just seeing if there's any more extra questions there, but I think we've answered quite a lot today, and I think we've provided a lot of fun topics, and I know I enjoyed it.
I enjoyed it too. It's
More
fun.
information.
I learned a lot. Yeah.
Yeah, I learned heaps. I can't wait to just be back and put all of those tips to use. But any closing remarks from either of you? Can you please let people know where they can find you on YouTube, Instagram, do all the plugs, anything you want to say?
You could go first,
Sure.
Rachel.
Okay. Okay. So my name is Rachel from Rachel Meets China. You can find me on YouTube, Instagram. Instagram is my main profile. Or I have a blog, rachelmeetschina.com. And then I also do a podcast and WeChat account called Date Night China, all about dating in China. So you can find me either of those places.
That's awesome. What about you, Nico?
So I'm Nico. I have a YouTube. I have a YouTube channel called Nico Films. But if you just search Nico China YouTuber, then I will come up. I make videos with my lovely husband Jack, and I also have an Instagram which is called Nico, and a website as well. So yeah, but mainly YouTube. So if you like Amy's videos, then you're probably going to like my videos too. So head over there, subscribe to my channel, and
Yes.
you'll get lots of good China content.
Awesome. So everyone who's watching this right now, go and subscribe to these two ladies ASAP. While you're there, you can also subscribe to myself if you're not already. You can follow me on YouTube, Blondie in China, and on Instagram as well. I'm currently doing a 50 days of Chinese food where I'm sharing 50 of my favorite moments of Chinese food.
Videos so good. Every time I watch it, I'm so hungry. I'm like, oh my gosh.
Me too.
So
like
good.
you're at least there. You can like go and get the stuff. Like I'm posting it and I'm like, oh, good thing Sydney has some really good food options, so I shouldn't complain too much. But anyway, lovely to speak with you ladies and have a good old chat. I can't wait to do it again sometime. And thank you to everyone who's tuned in, everyone who sent a super chat, and we will see you next time. Have a great Sunday night.
Bye.